If you're trying to grow a business and you haven't got your sales operations down like a military operation, know your numbers inside out, it makes it about 20 billion times harder. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down exactly the type of reporting and spreadsheets that you can implement into your business today very, very quickly and easily to start tracking some key metrics, in which case you can start to identify where in your sales systems there's holes and leaks. Now, it might mean that it's marketing, it might mean that it's sales, but at least you can identify what it is and you can go hunting in the right place. One of the biggest mistakes that I see with businesses that we're consulting with, that we're working with on a day-to-day basis, that are looking to grow their business, is if their sales is high one month, they might have a little bit of an idea and have a hunch, but they can't definitively tell me why they had a good month. And that's more worrying on the bad months. Because if you're having a bad month and you're getting to the end of the month and you're going, oh crap, we've had a bad month and we can't identify exactly why that is, that's a big problem. I'm going to walk you through the exact systems, the exact spreadsheets. It's as easy as that, and how to implement them into your business. So just before we do so, we're going to switch over to my computer onto Loom. My name's Adam Davies. I'm the CEO and founder of Sales Chief. We're a sales agency which handle recruitment, sales coaching, sales management for service-based businesses, high-ticket service-based businesses, coaching business, marketing agencies, all of those kind of things. We've been working in the industry for a long time with some really big names across the industry. And you want to check out what we do, there will be a link in the description and you can take a look at us. But with the magic of editing these days, and we're on Loom. Right, so this is a end of day report that we would have for a closer. Now, we separate our closer templates and our setters. So again, if you're a little bit more corporate-y, you'll probably call them SDRs for setters. Closers might be called like an AE or a BDM or whatever you call them these days, but you get the point. Setters are people that put the appointments in the diaries. Closers are people that close them. There's going to be people that are watching this that might be a little bit more traditional in terms of what their sales reps do, which means that they kind of do end-to-end. They do their own setting, they do their own closing. You've got a lead comes in, or they might even do an outbound. You can track all of that stuff. But again, we want to be tracking all that stuff, right? So things that we're going to be tracking here from a closer. This is good information for marketing as well. It doesn't matter who we work with, whether it's a service-based business, whether it's a coaching company, marketing agency, any of these businesses, we want to be bridging the gap between marketing and sales. Salespeople are very emotional. Of course they are. They're very commission-based, so their livelihoods depend on it. Marketers are very much black and white. They want to see data. They're numb to salespeople saying, the leads are shit, I get low show rate. They're just numb to it. They need to see data. So we want to bridge that gap. And there's some really key data in here that they're going to lap up. So we want to see how many calls are going in. Obviously, you know how much you're spending. You can work out pretty easy how much your cost per booking is if you don't know that already. I mean, it's probably one of the easiest metrics to track with the way marketing is these days. Show rate. We want to be tracking show rate, obviously. Offers made is a really key one. So this is something that marketers really need to know. So lots of marketers will track what it costs to get a call booked. They'll also track what it costs to get a sale, which is the most important metric at the end of the day. But the offers made is really important. If you've had 10 calls going to a closer's diary every day, so say on average 3 of them are not showing up, so you've got a 70% show rate. We've got 7 opportunities in that diary every day, but only one of them's qualified enough to pitch. You can look at that and you can go, oh, actually, we've got 30% of people not showing up every day. We need to improve the show rate. But really, the biggest problem is out of those 10, only 10% of them were qualified because 3 didn't show up and 6 of them weren't qualified enough to pitch. So that's a bigger problem. With the data, you can see that. Salespeople won't pick up on that. They'll just focus on the fucking no-shows. So again, it's really important to have that. And again, it keeps salespeople rational as well by having this data and being able to look at it, particularly if they're in like peaks and troughs and they're lulling and all that kind of stuff. It's really important to have that. Obviously, deals closed. We track, it depends on the offer, but we track 1 call close. Sometimes we change that to 2 call close, depending on the offer, but then follow-up closes as well. Again, some people have longer lifestyle, like deal cycles. So in that case, you just want to track your close conversion. But so there's a stat, right? 80% of deals were done between 4 and 12 touch points, and less than 45% of salespeople follow up more than once. So particularly if this is variable to every offer, but if you've got multiple salespeople in your business and one person's follow up close is really high, one person's really low, there's 2 things that could be happening. One's either not closing hard enough at the end of 1 call, and they're the efficient one, or one is not following up hard enough and they're not very good at follow up, which is they're the ones that's not efficient, right? So again, we're just identifying stuff the whole time. Obviously, cash collected, we want to see how much revenue they're making per booking, how much revenue they're making per offer, and all that kind of stuff. So this is how we'd fill it out. It's very easy. And you're probably thinking, I've just noticed this is a bloody Google sheet. Anyone could make this. Yes, that's the point. We want this to be as manual as possible. With all of our clients, right? All of our clients, all of their sales reps and stuff like that, we don't manage any of them from dashboards from their CRM systems. They're very rarely accurate because they're reliant on salespeople putting in the right tags, putting in the right notes, moving people across opportunity pipelines and stuff. They just don't do it. Here, they do it because they just go, right, I've got to come in here, I've got to fill that. It's the process is done for them. They haven't got to remember, they haven't got to think. They've just got to get in here and fill stuff out. And also, when somebody does something so manually, it's taken more seriously. How often do you check your dashboards? They might be on your CRM dashboard screen, but how often do you actually check them? It's very rare, and you don't really take them that seriously. This is the stuff you should be able to have literally at the touch of a button, which is what you've got access to by doing this. Like, if one of our clients says to us, what's the show rate this month? This is it. What's the cost per offer this month? This is what it is. What's the average deal close conversion rate this month? This is what it is. I can tell you all of this stuff very easy. Anyway, let's fill it out as if we're one of the sales reps. Let's say, for example, they've been pitching me. So that's obviously today's date, at time of recording. Put my name in. I'm typing one-handed here. So I was a new booking. I showed up. Obviously, if I cancelled, that would be like that. Or if they just no-showed, it would be neither. You can put an extra bit in here, cancelled. The example I'm showing you hasn't got that, but for some of our clients, we want to track that because there's a difference between people not showing up to calls, but then there's also people that have pre-cancelled in advance. So we want to track that as well because it might be something spooking them. We can, as much data as we've got, the quicker we can identify how to make our ad spend more efficient. So how long was they on the call for? It's an important metric, right? If we've got sales reps that are on call for 10 minutes on average, they're probably not doing a very good, this is probably not a very good sales call. They're just trying to pitch and just talking their head off. On the flip side, they might have allotted hour for a call if it's a traditional discovery call and their average call time's an hour, like 2 hours, in which case that's a problem. We need to get on top of that. They're either taking too long or we need to create more space to make sure that they are not rushing through the close and stuff like that. Again, more data, the better. Did they make an offer? Yes or no? Did they close it? Yeah, in one call. Again, if the way you work isn't one call closes, it's a longer deal cycle. You can amend that. It was one call close, but we're going to pretend that I didn't, just for the sake of this. So they spoke to me on the 18th of the 12th, didn't get me over the line. We had a follow-up booked in on the 20th of the 12th. Again, we want to be having a follow-up date booked in after every call. Won't get into that too much on this. It's probably that for another video. Probably done a video on it somewhere. Obviously, no cash collected yet. It's a follow-up. Did they review the call and ask Adam AI? Subtle plug. Check it out in the description if you want to get your sales team's calls reviewed. What was the outcome? Follow-up. FU does mean follow-up, by the way. Follow-up, and then whatever objection was. Again, we want to look for, this isn't their notes. This is just for the person reviewing this to see what's going on, because we're looking for similarities. So if we've got the same objection, I don't know, like a money objection. Do you think it's a good idea we work on the money objection? It probably would make sense, right? But again, it's visible. We can see it. And we can work on the things that we need to work on as opposed to what we think we need to work on, which is whatever. I want to know how they feel as well. We talk about like emotions of sales reps and stuff like that. I want to see how they feel. I want to know how they feel. So I want to see how they feel that the call went. And then we want to track what the lead source was. So if you've got a setter, get them to put the setter name in. What if the lead source? Again, I want to have a snapshot. If I'm managing your sales team, I want to be able to say to you every week, 70% of our deals came from this lead source. Are you spending 70% of your budget on that? No, we're only spending 20%. We need to up that budget because most of your deals are coming from there. Again, more efficiency, more data. And then we wanted to put their call recording or Fathom link, whatever it is they're using, so we can review the call. So let's say, for example, they didn't close me. We're now on the 20th of the 12th. We've gone back. They've now closed me. We can come in. We can do follow-up close, cash collected. It's set in dollars, but most, like 95% of our clients are in pounds. I don't know why. I think it was just a Google Sheet thing. We changed them for our clients, but it obviously was set up for dollars to start off with. So cash collected, I don't know, let's just say it's a 10 grand thing. you're going to all have different, aren't you? Yes, put the call through Ask Adam AI. But we can see now we've got stats, we've got data. Obviously, as it collates, it will even out. We're not going to have 100% conversion rate, but we can see it. Now, we're going to jump over to the setter one because I'm just realizing time. I don't want this video to be mega long. So we've got, this is just their data entry for the day. So they're just going to fill this out at the end of the day. So appointments wise, if your closer's doing it, get them to fill this out. It's like if you're one salesperson, not necessarily a closer specific, get them to fill this out as well. So 18th for the 12th. If you've got multiple setters, get them all filling out the same one. So there's Adam, dials made, 150. We're not necessarily, again, depending on your industry, but dials made is probably the least important stat out of all of this. Is going to be your amount of bookings made on call time and then dials is going to be the most important metrics. But we can learn lots and lots and lots from this. So on call time, hour and 20, let's just 120 minutes, 2 hours. Let's say new leads came in. Your marketing generated 8 new leads that day, and I had 5 qualified conversations, and I've booked in 3. We now know you've had 8 new leads in, booked in 3. Again, we can add bits to this if you want to then have calls booked from new leads, calls booked from not new leads, all that kind of stuff. But most of the time, most clients leads getting booked in from new leads, so we can just kind of leave it like this. So a couple of things that we're tracking here. And we can just identify straight away. Let's say, for example, they made 150 dials. They was on call for 5 minutes and they had 1 qualified conversation. A qualified conversation is speaking to someone past 30 seconds, essentially. If we've got through the intro, they've shown an interest, we're having a conversation. That's a qualified conversation. So in that scenario, 150 dials, 5 minutes on the call, we had 1 qualified conversation. That is a waste of their time in that day. Doesn't mean we're going to make a load of changes, but if that then carries on for 2, 3, 4 days, they're ringing the wrong leads, or they're ringing them at the wrong time, or something's up with your number, something's up with your marketing. We can identify that there's a problem there, and we can get on top of it very quickly. Let's say, for example, they've made 150 dials, they've got 2 hours call time, they had 8 new leads come in, they had 10 qualified conversations, bookings none. That's a sales problem. Or it could be a qualified conversations would be low, but it could be a qualification issue. But again, we can identify, and if we do need to do a little bit more digging, we can do that very quickly and efficiently. We just need to listen to some of those calls, review some of those calls, and we've got the answer straight away. We can nip this in the bud very quickly. It's not a case of you're like waiting till the end of the month to find out what the problem is. You can do this over a couple of days. And once you've got a bit of data, we're not going to act massively irrationally, but once we've got that data, we can kind of start acting on it as well. Then let's say, for example, here, how many do we do? 3 bookings. We're not going to do all 3, but I'll show you. Like, then we just do the name of the person they booked in. They booked in me. Just add that in there. So the date of booking was 17th for the 12th. The date of appointments, 18th for the 12th. Again, we're looking for efficiencies. If your setter is booking an appointments 2 weeks down the line, you're going to have a low show rate. We're going to be able to see what's going on and all that kind of stuff. Again, it's just identifying stuff all the time. Time of appointment, 12 o'clock. We've put setter notes for sales chief. Obviously, we're sales chief. We do that. This setter notes is for the person reviewing it. It's not the notes of the call. So I want to know how they're feeling, how the call went. Like, they can say, this is one to listen to. This was a really hard call, lots of objections. We can have a listen to it. It points us in the right direction. Then the closer who comes in, who was the closer? It was John. I don't know who John is, but whatever. Did they attend the appointment? Yes. Was it qualified? Yes. We can see that all the numbers are stacking up. What was the outcome of the call? Paid in full. Core feedback. Great booking. Like, again, we've got so much data through this. Obviously, building it is another thing. It's not that difficult. Like, ChatGPT can help you with that. Obviously, it's one thing having the data. It's then what to do with it. It's keeping on top of it. It's then coaching off the back of it. If you want some tips and some help and some demos about how we've helped people do that, there is a link in the description. By all means, have a chat with us. We don't buy it. We're not going to be hardcore salespeople. If you jump on a call with us, you have to buy from us. If you want to learn a little bit more about this stuff, we can do that. But having this data is so priceless. Loads of businesses we speak to, like, we kind of go through this stuff and they're like, Jesus Christ, we don't track even a quarter of that. And it's like they're wondering why they have such good months and have such bad months all the time. Or they're looking to grow and scale and it happens very slowly. They're going to make changes or hesitant to make changes because they don't know what the changes need to be. They don't know how to make the right changes in order to grow. And then that information you can feed back to your marketing team is invaluable. Anyway, hope you found this video super helpful. If you did, then YouTube is going to do its thing, and around here somewhere, maybe not right where my finger is because I'm in the corner now, but somewhere on this screen, there's going to be a video that YouTube thinks you're going to benefit from. There's a few links in the description if you want to find out a little bit more. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week on the next video.